have a different, more defensive identity. And then we saw what the New York Islanders did. For the second time this season, the Isles hung 5 on the Tampa Bay Lightning. It's the second time that's happened to them. And if you look at the course of the year, 5 times they've given up 5 goals in 29 games played. They've lost 5 of their last 7. So, side by side, you decide, is it a new identity? When Anton Stralman left, he said we didn't focus on defense enough, and Andrei Vasilevsky bailed us out. As Weeksy quickly will point out, he won the Vezina. As you look at these numbers side by side, it sure doesn't look different. Defensive statistics with NHL, right? But this is where it is different. The aforementioned Andrei Vasilevsky, yikes. 9th to 34th, 6th to 31st, 3rd to 39th. Now, Weeksy, I turn to you, head of the goalie union. The reigning Vezina winner, his numbers, not flattering. What do you say?
I think in knowing Andrei Vasilevsky and knowing how hungry he is and how committed he is, he's the hardest working guy on that team on a day-to-day basis based on his approach as a professional. I think he'd probably be the first one to tell you he's not quite at his level, and he hasn't been able to hit and sustain it so far this season to what we've become accustomed to, sure, in terms of his excellence. But one thing I will say is their team in front of him, and McElhinney for that matter, there's a lot of guys coming literally right down channel side in Tampa, a lot of opposing players, and getting these slot opportunities right down the middle, and clean looks with time to be able to make their play. So overall, I know their goalie coach, Franz John's done a great job with their team. Andrei Vasilevsky's become one of the best in the business. There's a little dip in his performance right now. He's not at the level he expects to be at, unquestionably. You talked about that yesterday. I'd agree with that too. I think, though, this begs a bigger question is you look at the team. Everybody's got their cake. So you got your contract. You're getting your ice time. Well, what does it become? Is it about points? Or do you want to get back to that Stanley Cup final and finish the job the way they did against Chicago, but come out on the right side of it? That becomes the question for me with a lot of their top players. And if they're going to get there, Jeff, they have to have more of a universal collective buy-in of playing without the puck south of the red line.
Yeah, they have to support, they have to layer up, they've got to do all the stuff which I can't imagine that John Cooper and his staff aren't preaching. Is it starting to get to the point where they demand it? Yeah, I think it's close to it. And if they don't, then certain maybe players don't play, that's the only way you control players is with ice time when it's all said and done. Look, I know that we've discussed it on this very set, both standing and sitting, with no Dan Girardi, with no Anton Stralman, with no, Ryan Callahan, and all these players were in and out at various times due to injury here or there. But for the most part, those guys also brought a lot of leadership. They brought a lot of shot blocking. They brought some middle of the ice play. Now, it still wasn't enough to carry them past the first round of the playoffs, as we all know what happened. But we don't have a full identity yet of this team. I know that the Tampa Bay Lightning think if they get things turned around by the end of this calendar year, early on in the second half of the season, meaning it's early January, that they feel they can be a team to be reckoned with. Problem is, if they don't turn around by then, how tight does everything get in Tampa right there, and then what starts happening? I mean, this is also an opportunity for Julien Brisebois to perhaps do something. We haven't heard much from him at all. So this could be an opportunity for him to try and shake it up a bit.
Yeah, and what's interesting to me in watching their team play, we know that they're well assembled.
Yes.
They've got a lot of great pieces, make no mistake about it, but
are you all right with depth still? Are you all right with their depth?
Yeah, and I'm going to tell you why. Because the depth guys play hard, and they chip in offensively. So I love bringing in Patty Maroon, and I talked to Patty Maroon about this early in the season where their group's concerned. You have the likes of Paquette, Joseph, Gord, Patty Maroon. Those guys play hard. Killorn, they play hard. Sorelli, who I really like out of Oshawa. Those guys play hard and they have skill, but they compete. But then when you look at the top 6, you need a little bit more bite in terms of competitiveness, both with and without the puck, from a lot of their top 6 guys. And Braden Point is the one guy that probably typifies that best in their top 6 group. So the elite guys and their super elite players, we know that in Stammer and Cooch, but they have to be a little harder to play against. And if they are, this team can get out of their funk. If they're not, then it continues.
Cooch is the reigning Hart Trophy winner, Art Ross winner. This team won the President's Trophy last year. It's all puzzling, mystifying. We're going to take our first time